It's only from here that you get a sense of the scale of this ship, of just how big she really is. Now, I've been given the full guided tour to get a real sense of those huge proportions and just how ready this aircraft carrier is to leave her dry dock.
This is a ship like no other in Royal Navy history. 3 times the size of the ageing Illustrious, she's crammed full of high technology.
It may not look like much, but this network of rails and pulleys is one of the key technical innovations on board this ship. Known as the highly mechanised weapons handling system, so few people are now required to get the bombs and missiles from the very bowels of the ship up to the flight deck, that the HMS Queen Elizabeth will be able to go to sea with no more people on board than one of the older and much smaller Invincible class carriers.
Impressive as this ship is, an aircraft carrier is as nothing without aircraft. And plans are already in place for the all-important flight trials.
We're looking forward to conducting first-of-class flight trials with the F-35B to this exact aircraft carrier in the late months of 2018. We're expecting to do that off the eastern seaboard of the United States, and we're expecting to bring 2 or maybe 3 even F-35Bs to this deck to conduct those trials.
The launch may be just weeks away, but it'll be more than 2 years before the ship leaves Rosyth. And then will follow a lengthy programme of sea trials.
The Royal Navy will be putting the Merlin helicopter on board for a period of rotor wing trials to test it to the full extent, make sure all the services and systems are operating correctly. And that'll be the initial helicopter capability before we...
And the big stuff is the Joint Strike Fighter, the F-35.
Yep.
I guess that'll be one day roaring along where we are right now.
Well, you're standing on the centre line of the runway. You'll be going a lot faster than you are now, but that's the exciting bit. The F-35 at sea, off the eastern seaboard, doing her first set of sea trials. That's what the ship's about. That's what it was built for.
There may be a long way to go until she can put to sea, but there's already a sizable Royal Navy presence on board to smooth the process from build phase to battleship.
We're actively engaged in trials and commissioning. We have 74 technicians engaged in trials and commissioning activity alongside our industry colleagues, and there are many benefits to this. First of all, it accelerates the way in which we learn about the ship and forms the basis of our training solution. It also means when we get the ship from contractors' hands, we'll be able to get it into service that much more quickly and also with greater confidence.
The remaining work is far more than cosmetic, with millions of metres of cable and pipework still to run through the hull, and mission systems to integrate too. But with every passing day, the Queen Elizabeth comes closer to becoming the Royal Navy's flagship.
Well, it's taken many, many years to get the project to this stage. Paul Rafferty is involved in the project management of the Queen Elizabeth class for the Aircraft Carrier Alliance. Paul, it really has been a lot of work to get the ship this ready.
Yeah, incredible work by a hell of a lot of people. There's been an order of 10,000 people working on the programme across the UK. Where we currently stand in the programme is we have completed the structure, as you see behind us, so it's complete. We now face the challenge of completing the outfit programme.
And how long is that going to take? I mean, we've been hearing that she should float out of the dock in the summer, but what happens after that?
Well, she will, as you say, float out of the dock in the summer. In July, we will have the naming ceremony here, where we will then, post that ceremony, flood the dock and take the ship across to the outfitting berth, where we will continue with the outfitting programme, and then quite quickly after that, moving into the commissioning programme, which is setting to work all the systems ready for delivery.
And while that happens, we can see on the quayside here large parts of Prince of Wales, the next aircraft carrier, already here. So while you're finishing off the Queen Elizabeth on one side of the dockyard, you'll be starting to build the next one in the same dock?
Absolutely. Prince of Wales has been built all around the UK as we speak, so she is well on in completion. We have, as you see, the bow section here waiting to go into the dock as soon as Queen Elizabeth is floated out, and the first major significant block for Prince of Wales will be arriving here in September.
Now, as I say, this ship therefore isn't a one-off. Are there lessons that you've learned building something this big, 65,000 tonnes? There must be a couple that you can apply to the second in class.
Oh, absolutely. We learn lessons as we go through the build programme. This is unlike other manufacturing industries where you would have built a prototype to iron out your issues. what you see in front of us is a prototype. So we're learning as we go through, and we're capturing those lessons and getting them put in, enacted on Ship 2 to ensure an effective delivery, both in terms of cost and schedule.
Now, you've got a lot of work to do, evidently, before the naming ceremony in July, but it's going to be quite a special day, I guess, for the 10,000 people or so that have been involved in getting the ship to this stage.
Oh, hugely special day. It's the equivalent of a launch, the old dynamic launch you would have. Not quite as dynamic, but as every bit as significant, because it's a key point in the milestone, because once we achieve that flood up, it is about then our ability to have the set to work the ship going forward.
Now, of course, this ship is going to represent a new capability for the British forces, the capability to project force 4 acres of sovereign territory all over the world. We'll be here for that official naming ceremony in Rosyth. We'll bring you live coverage in July.